Hey, how's it going? I'm Walid Chaya.
I'm Kavita Raj.
And this is Lights,
Camera,
and Conversation. And today we have a very special guest, Sri Raj.
Hello.
Welcome,
Sri, we are so excited to have you with us today.
Yep.
Kavita and Sri are husband-wife and the parents of the ever so talented pop artists Rhea Raj and Lara Raj.
Thank you so much.
That's right, brother.
Thank you.
Yes.
Rhea and Lara are music artists. They're singers, songwriters, and Lara's in a girl group, KATSEYE. Rhea's an independent pop artist, and they act and model as well. And my bestie, Walid Chaya, is an actor, director, writer, and someone that has an acting program and is a coach as well.
Yes. I run an acting school, Studio for Performing Arts LA. So if you're listening and you want to get your acting career started, reach out to me, contact me, check out studioforperformingarts.com or walidchaya.com. And today as a collective, we're here to talk all about raising, your daughters in the business tree.
This is the family show
It's
today.
the family show. Kavita and I talk about this obviously every episode, but we wanted to bring in Dad and get the dad's take on seeing his girls flourish and blossom in Hollywood and in music from, back home, overseas, to Texas, to Jersey, to New York, to LA, and everywhere in between. And I think it's going to be a really fun episode.
All dads matter.
All dads matter.
All dads matter. Oh, that is so funny. Cheers to that.
We
Oh
love
my
dads.
God.
You better
So,
toast me.
Can I comment on the fact that our show, Walid and I are always having wine, but Sri was like, hey, I want to make my own cocktail.
That's
so
right.
that is what he has. But, we've had conversations about what it's like to be a parent in the industry.
Right.
And I've given my perspective as a mom. And it is nice and fresh to hear about what it's like to be a dad of kids in the industry and growing up in that. Walid is very close to the girls. You were their acting mentor, acting coach. You started their acting journey in New York. And they both hold that very dear to their heart. And that's something that's very important for them. And now they're focusing on their music journeys. And we wanted to talk to Sri about what it's like to be a dad in this journey.
Yeah. So Sri, just off the bat, how are you feeling today? And how is it to be the father of these two girls? I'm sure you're just ever so proud.
So first thing, guys, first of all, it's an honor to know you, Walid, because the kids have known you for a long time now, since our days in 2015 when we moved from Texas back to the Northeast. Lara has been privileged to learn from you, acting from you, and in some way all of that has contributed to where she is today, a member of KATSEYE, the latest girl group launched by Geffen and by Hybe labels. And then also celebrating, you asked me how I feel today. I feel awesome. Variety of reasons. Number one, it's also my beautiful wife's birthday coming up. And we're looking to celebrate it.
Happy early birthday.
And then my older daughter, Rhea Raj, who's been a past American Idol finalist, had a billboard on Times Square in 2023, big year of achievement for her. Big song Outside a couple of years ago. She just launched her new single, Messy, just a few days ago.
We love Messy.
And by the way, for y'all listening to the podcast, if y'all haven't checked it out, do check out Rhea's music, www.rhearaj.com. That's RHEARAJ.com. That easy. So I'm feeling cloud nine today. One daughter signed to Geffen and Hybe. One daughter just launched her latest single, was on the billboard in Times Square. So I'm on cloud nine. This is Rhea's year.
Yes. And, they both...
And y'all's is here as the podcast.
I love the vibe of that. Yes, and we all lean on each other so
we
much.
We should just hire Sri as our PR.
Sri's our PR, I know. But it's a group effort. I mean, the girls really have learned so much from each other. And, Lara obviously being the younger one, I'm sure from her older sister. And you two
Rhea's
have learned so much from the successes as much as from the challenges.
Definitely.
And I want to get into that a little bit more 100%. Today.
Yeah.
So Sri, you feel this way today, but starting off when your kids wanted to start performing as singers, as performers, as actors, was your attitude the same? Were you a little skeptical? How did you feel back then, and how did it change and why?
Look, I come from a background, I would say, where my dad went to work every day in a corporate setting for a British company in India, and that's the way I was raised. Kavita was not radically different. Kavita, my wife, sat next to me, your co-host.
Corporate America, corporate, world.
Their definition of success was get a good job. Like literally the word that would be used was get a good job. And for that, their definition of what, nothing against our parents, because that's what they were exposed to. That's what they did historically. That's what no one in our family has ever been in business on their own, right? And so their definition was you got to study hard. Grades were the only thing that mattered. Like they were obsessed with how many degrees, masters. So of course, both Kavita and I have our MBAs, right? The older we got, though, I think we realized that your role here on planet Earth is much bigger than just working for somebody and building equity for somebody. And, and our children decided at a very young age that they would do something for themselves, right? But if I play it back, the story starts well before our children really started acting or dancing or singing or started taking lessons. I'm going to roll this back all the way to year 2001 when my wife started a dance school called the Kavita Dance Company. It was called Kavitanjali, actually, back in Stamford, Connecticut. I mean, we were in a much smaller home than we are in today. In the basement, she would teach 10 kids. We weren't smart enough to know. I wasn't smart enough to know then that was the beginning of all of this, right? But it did its part in its own way because it exposed us to the theater, business of entertainment, right? Every time she started with 10 kids, the school grew eventually to 20, 30, 40, 50. It kind of multiplied in the state of Texas. And its own way kind of set a foundation for we can do other things beyond just working every day in a 9-to-5 role.
We could be in the performing arts space,
Yeah, and so my eyes were open a while ago. Yeah. I can't say that I was mature enough back then to say, hey, the kid should be in the space, because you start looking at the monetization. It isn't the same as what I've been able to do in a corporate setting, which I'm thankful for, which has afforded Rhea and Lara the ability to go do their own thing. But I truly feel, though, today I truly feel, if you scale for yourself as an artist, there's no greater achievement from that. Remember, all of us in the bodies and lives that we live in are born on planet Earth once. Shoot for the moon, have a moonshot. And I think what happens when you get into this business is you're automatically shooting for a moonshot. And now I get that.
Yeah.
For sure.
I love this
it's a tough
quote.
Business. I love it.
This quote, shoot for the moon, and there's a other half that I've heard before. It goes, shoot for the moon, and even if you miss, you'll land among the stars.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's, a lot of power to that, and you've inspired your
Might
daughters.
be the other way around. It's shoot for the stars and you land on the moon?
No, because there's only one moon. There's so many stars. So if you
Isn't
shoot
there
for
a
the
song
moon,
about this? Isn't there a song? Hidden in the stars a million miles away. Isn't there a song like this?
I don't know, but I think we have another pop artist on our hands. Yeah.
Nah, don't hire me for vocals, y'all. I'm a podcaster because my podcast partner Peter says I have a radio face. I don't know what that means.
Oh, Peter has jokes. To those
Peter
listening, Sri is...
I forgot to say that.
Yeah, Sri is one of the hosts of the CPG Guys, an incredible e-commerce podcast.
Yes.
Sri, can you just tell us quickly a little bit about that? Because it is super interesting, and it's in the world of entertainment, which now you've joined, the tribe, and here you are being an entertainer podcaster.
In its own way, Walid and Kavita, it's kind of taught me to follow the entertainment business because I left Revlon after I had a episode with my health, a health scare in January 2020. I was kind of reflecting on what I wanted to do. One of the things I did was I called my best friend Peter Mon of 22 decades and said, do you want to make YouTube 2 decades in 2020?
22 years.
In 2020 March and said, do you want to make YouTube videos? We made YouTube videos, but we realized pretty quickly we have radio faces. So he said to me, why don't we do podcasts? And shamefully admit, prior to April 2020, I'd never listened to a podcast. Now I have like 40 podcasts I listen to.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And what happened was we said, why don't we talk about the industry we've come from, which is given to us and we've given back so much to. We had no idea that at the time of this recording, 350 plus episodes. And we have talked to who's who in America in consumer goods and retail, like CEOs, SVPs, presidents from the largest companies like Walmart, Mondelez, Kraft, PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, you name it. We also do a Women's Month every November to empower women. Only women are allowed to come on the show in November of every year because it's our Women's Month. It's like who's who in corporate America that are female leaders, because we are also staunch supporters of gender equality. I also sit on the board of the Network of Executive Women that's now called Next Up. And starting January, I got elected to be the leader for the development committee for what's next for Next Up. So we take that pretty seriously. But it all started with a casual conversation on let's make YouTube videos. But in its own way, it's helped me clear my head and understand that the entertainment industry can be equally rewarding, if not 50x more. And now I'm on the camp of it can be 1,000x more then I don't want to again belittle anybody or tell anybody you're doing something wrong. Everyone has to decide what they do for themselves. But the entertainment industry is a moonshot, and if you're good work ethic and you work hard at it, you network like crazy, and we can talk about the importance of networking later. You'll achieve that moonshot, and one of you just said, if you don't achieve the moon, you land on a star. Is it that bad?
Oh, I think that's
there you
awesome.
go.
Yeah.
He's been bitten by the bug.
He's been bitten by the bug.
There
And
you go.
Podcaster
I
Shri.
live in Los
That's
Angeles.
it. Now, exactly.
Oh, wow. There you go.
wow.
Quickly
She's officially
accommodated.
California,
She's officially in the
California.
industry and hence a guest
Yeah.
of Lights, Camera, Conversations.
Yeah,
So,
and you know, ultimately, Shri, even though you've spent most of your time in corporate America, this podcast is also, while it's still focusing on what you know best from corporate America, e-commerce, it's also a creative outlet in its own
course,
way.
yeah.
And it's opened you up, like you've said, to this Hollywood world. It's opened you up to this Hollywood world. Nevertheless, your, connections in the industry really started the second, your daughters decided to do this. So let's talk about some, pivotal moments in the careers of both Rhea and Laura that you remember without Rolodexing. So without saying, no, not this one, that one. What comes to mind instantly as a pivotal moment in the beginning for either?
Yeah, so I'll start first with Rhea, right? For
Yeah.
both Rhea and Laura, Kavita starting the dance school,
Yeah.
Kavita dance, and getting them enrolled to do Bharatanatyam. That was the beginning of learning the physical art form.
Right.
Without that, I'm not so sure we'd be here today. That's just the reality. Whether we want to agree, disagree, it really doesn't matter. In my head, I know individual opinion on one that made a difference.
So you have to know the skill. You have
Yes.
to know the
Yeah.
art
Yes.
itself. And your daughters spent time training at the school.
Right.
Yes, but then I start individualizing it further. So that was the starting of everything, right? I remember 20 years ago when Kavita would do her annual recital, I would schlep around a video camera, I'd shoot the video myself. I mean, these were the days of those camcorders and tapes, and then I'd strip them out. I had to make digital copies. People would yell at me, I don't like the way the video came out, but it all trained both of us for like where we are today, right? Today people might say, oh, they're the mom of Lara Raj and KATSEYE and Rhea Raj, but there was work that went behind it. Pivotal moment for Rhea came quite a while ago, right? So when Rhea joined the school in Texas, she had a fantastic, I would say, mentor, Linda Septine.
Linda.
And
Shout
what
out
ended
to
up...
Linda Septine, always.
Shout out to Septine. It was the early beginning. Great teachers. I remember all of them by first name. Kavita and I dedicated our Saturdays, Sundays to the stuff. Entire day Saturday, driving back and forth to Addison from Plano, Texas, back and forth, like 6 classes. But the moment that came for Rhea was when she started performing at House of Blues.
House of
Hard
Blues.
Rock Cafe
Hard
in
Rock
Dallas.
Cafe.
Hard Rock Cafe.
American
Gas Monkey
Airlines
Grill.
Center.
American Airlines Center for the Mavericks sing the national anthem. We knew something was happening over here, for sure. And that grew into bigger and bigger things. And the magic moment was auditioning for American Idol. How many people get to move from auditioning round 1, round 2, getting passed through to actually get the golden ticket?
Yeah,
Rhea
to
got the golden
Hollywood.
ticket to
She
Hollywood.
got the ticket.
Yes.
She
She
was
made the
going to
top 100.
Hollywood.
We came here.
She was good, and that was the year we were moving from Dallas, Texas to New Jersey before we even moved to New York
Yeah.
City. And that summer, just before we met you, we met you literally that fall when they
Right.
enrolled in your program.
Right.
And you were their acting coach, and like a month before that, they were in
American
Rhea was in
Idol.
American Idol.
Who was the judge on that? If a female, I forget.
Jennifer
J-Lo.
Lopez.
It was J-Lo, of course.
J-Lo.
And
I like
J-Lo,
your walk.
J-
I like your talk. That's
J-Lo
what she
really
said to
liked
Rhea.
her.
Yeah.
J-Lo
She's like,
liked
I like
Rhea.
your style, love your look,
J-Lo,
love everything
mother.
about you. Yeah.
That was a
Love that.
very special moment, but we knew right then that this is the industry. No matter what the outcome of American Idol was, the next steps needs to be the industry, and we've run the race, right?
Yeah.
Laura's was a little bit different, I would say. While again, similarly for Laura, there have been many moments. There was a pivotal moment maybe a couple years ago when Kavita started helping her with her TikTok algorithm, as well as with her Instagram algorithm, cleaning up what to post, what not to post, like making rules. It was hard to do that with a 16-year-old. And lots of fierce, I would say, arguments and battles at home between parents and the child, but somehow she persevered. I think that was a very pivotal moment, but I'll take it one step backwards before that. And that backwards moment, I would say, came when we lived in Texas. And so that's been a while, like pre-28, maybe 2016, 17. And that was when Laura made it to the junior master's program at a school where she was learning music and the arts. And that pivotal moment was when she was competing with a bunch of kids to make a certain program which would train her to be a 360 artist.
Yeah.
She got in to be one of the leaders of that program. And then
Yeah.
we are like, okay, there's something going on over here. But I still think the moment for Lara is Kavita working with her a couple of years ago, social media algorithm, and the key word I want to use is put in covers.
Yes, exactly.
you remember?
That comes back to so many of our topics about
Right.
social
Putting
media.
yourself out
putting
there,
yourself
getting
out there as an
discovered.
independent artist till you have that moment when a large label or a large studio or some
Someone
organization
notices
finds
you.
you. It is important that you put your content out there.
Right.
So content that you love to do, and like Sri said, put your energy into it, put your passion into it, be limitless in what you share. There is some magic around it, because this is
Right.
a lot of magic.
Well, for Laura, it ended up in being scouted
Oh
to
my
go to
God.
the training
Yes.
academy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing I want to pass on to your listening audience and
Yeah.
the both of you, which you obviously know, but for more for your audience is, I might have come from 28, 30 years of a corporate, hardcore corporate America training, right? I've worked for some of the largest brands in the world, Pepsi, Aquafina, Doritos, Lay's, Johnson & Johnson, like Band-Aid, Johnson's Baby, Revlon. The thing that I totally have learned during that process, which is applicable in this field, is branding.
Branding.
The ability to build brand equity. And I want to encourage your entire audience, right, listening, no matter what you're doing in the performing arts business. You could be a singer, you could be a musician, you could be acting, you could be extras on a commercial that you're auditioning for. It really doesn't matter. If you're in the performing arts business, focus on this word, brand you. Develop you as a brand. For example, you're Walid Chaya. Walid Chaya, the brand is different from the company you run, from who you work for, from who you teach. You are Walid Chaya, your own brand, the network that you create, and how you build equity for that brand with little wins you bring aboard for that brand, Walid Chaya, as an example.
Yeah.
Yes.
People ask this often from me as an acting coach. They say, what is my brand? What is my type? How do I develop it? I'm sure you hear that with musicians too, and we've done episodes dedicated on tips to find your brand, so our listeners can find our brand episode from season 2. But ultimately, it begins in really getting to know your work and how you see yourself, but more importantly, how people see you. So how did Rhea and Laura discover their brands? And their brands are still evolving. They're both young. Laura is how many years younger than Rhea? 4 or 5? 5 years.
Yeah.
And
23 and 18.
23 and 18. So the brands are evolving. But how did you start to develop the girls' brands and help them with that?
By the way, a little known story here. Obviously people see the outward success that exists today, right? Because that's what's marketed by the industry. There's a lot of hard work that's gone behind that. Years and hours and days. Lara is an example. We used to live in Princeton, New Jersey, 82 miles from New York City, or maybe 52 miles. Maybe I'm getting that algorithm wrong, but maybe 82 minutes. You have to drive through the turnpike. You got to cross the bridges and the tunnels, go to New York. We put in an entire Saturday, Sunday when our friends would actually have fun partying on Saturday nights. We'd be in dance class with Laura, right? So I wanted to mention that.
With you.
Yeah.
And-
we go
and-
from dance to acting, if you remember.
To seeing me in
Yes,
acting.
all
Yeah, I
the way
remember that.
downtown in the city near Wall Street. I remember that, near the Bull.
Yeah.
So the thing on branding that I really wanted to kind of share is, when you start out developing a brand, don't get hung up. There's only one way of the highway and you know it all. Branding and equity comes over time. And the best way to develop a brand is let your audience or your fans determine what your brand is. If you let your audience or your fans determine what your brand is, you're giving back what they are asking for. It's customer service. What I've learned from the corporate world is, if you let your consumers determine your brand equity, they will buy for life, or they will be your loyal fans for life. There's no different in this world. Tom Cruise's brand equity came from some of his early movies, such as Top Gun. He was seen as a maverick in Top Gun. He's always been a maverick. He's done a ton of action films. He's been a romantic in movies. That's the brand they wanted to see him as. They didn't want to ever see him as a villain. And he stuck to the day. And so I would always say, for Rhea and Lara, now Rhea's brand is a lot more clear, but what we don't speak of is the number of false starts we've had with Rhea's brand. We know how many albums we've created, how many songs we've created, that we actually had to have erased from the ecosystem because the branding wasn't correct.
Yeah.
Branding takes time.
Yeah, and it takes actually writing 100 songs for like you to pick 5 out of that to be in your album or to be a single that's released. And I know that over the course, because Rhea is also a songwriter and a creator that way, a very independent artist, someone that has been very mindful of the brand that's authentic to her and the brand that the people want to see. So it's a combination of what I want to do, but also what the people want to see. So when some of the experiences were like, okay, this is what I really want to do, but this is what the people want to see, then you're kind of like, okay, let me curate something that is authentic to what I want to do, but also people enjoy. So it's like a bit of both.
And, you know, the people will reply in the comments. Can you cover this song? Can you do this? Oh, we don't like this one. We like the other one more. And you really have to read the room, right?
Yeah,
You know, guys, I recently had a chance to tour with Rhea on a weekend.
Yeah.
2 different locations, DC.
Yeah.
A really great
Real
venue
Music
in
Dad
DC, like
weekend you
1,000 people audience, and then one in New York City, another 1,000 people audience. And Rhea had me man the merch tables for her and be the live on-site manager, working with the entire event venue, doing the settling of her dues, selling merch, making sure the equipment worked with the sound
Life
engineers.
Of an independent artist.
But it was so much fun. But what I learned there, I learned a lot about branding, because when people wanted to come and buy merch, they would talk to me about why. First of all, they were shocked that I was Rhea's dad, and they would engage in conversation with me. But that brand mattered so much to them. One of them told me they'd wear it and sleep every night because it's like I'm keeping Rhea Raj close to my chest. And another one
How did
said,
you feel about that? What was your reply?
I gotta tell you, Walid, it was a learning moment for me. Like
Was it creepy or was it endearing?
It was not creepy at all. It was very enduring, because what I learned going out on those 2 shows with Rhea and the size and scale of 1,000 people each was how important music and the entertainment world, arts, is to people's lives. It can cheer you up. It can give you a reason to wake up every day. It can give you a reason to persevere. It can give you a reason to do moonshots yourself. It can give you a reason to go pursue something that you've always wanted to do, but you've been held back by circumstances. I'll tell you, everything I've done in life on the corporate world, I don't have enough in my pocket that I can claim I can do that for people. I can, what I did for PepsiCo, what I did for Revlon, what I did for Johnson & Johnson, I created solutions to certain problems, but I didn't create solutions that stuck in people's hearts for a lifetime that would be the reason they'd wake up every day.
Oof. Right. I remember you calling me and telling me that one of the fans said that it motivated her to follow her dreams because a couple of Rhea's songs inspired her to feel like they were the devil in the dress. So it was like that motivation to be like, go do what you want, because you've got this one shot, this one life, live authentically. Somehow the universe will find a way to make it happen for you.
Yeah, it was actually
and that fan was like, met Sri and
it was a
said
transgender person who came up to me and talked to me about Rhea's song Devil in a Dress, right? And how important they felt very liberated, very empowered. The power of arts to empower people and tell them, you can do it. You can be a leader. You can do a moonshot. You're here on planet Earth because of brand you to be special. You make your decisions. Make good decisions for yourself. But as long as you're getting ahead in life, you're making the right decision. Don't let others hold you back. That's what arts does. And I had a good learning lesson in that. And in 30 years in the corporate world, no matter what I've done, I've sold, who I've dealt with, and my network is not small because of what I've done in corporate America, I didn't have the power to do that.
I feel like the arts have a way of moving people. It touches you at the core.
There's no heart without art.
Yeah.
Well said.
There you go.
Yeah.
For the acting world, in branding, it's interesting. Definitely you want to listen to how people see you. Actors just getting started, though, sometimes find that the first couple of projects they book start to influence their brand, especially if those projects aren't just an indie film or a student film, but have a little bit more reach or clout, even if the role is a little smaller. I'll give you an example for me. Out of college, the first couple of projects I booked were from Blacklist, Madam Secretary, Looming Tower. These are all dramas where I play a Middle Eastern character in an accent. So I didn't want that to start becoming my brand because it's super specific, and I never thought that would be my brand. Especially these characters carrying a gun, roughhousing people. It's acting, so I love to do it and I'm happy to. But I had to be very conscious of why. It's because that's how they see me, right? That's how, they see American television. Middle Eastern people were seen in the light of war because the Middle East is always at war. So there's a lot of stories written by American writers, most of which are white men, about Middle Eastern people in this light. So I had to really focus on, what am I doing to set myself apart in my brand? Studying more at comedy schools like the People's Improv Theater in New York or here in LA at UCB, and making sure that that helps me break into comedy so I can kind of still do these network dramas, happy to, and it's so much fun, right? But also to be able to grow beyond that and for people to recognize me within my personality, because my personality is a bit more upbeat and comical, and my dream would be on a multi-camera sitcom, you know what I mean? Or, action comedy films. And so that's really the vibe. And for film TV, I want to suggest to actors to, keep pushing forwards towards what you see your vision of your brand is, because we can't always pick what roles come to us, right? And the roles that we do book, we work so hard for, it might not be your dream role, but it's putting bread on the table, it's giving you footage for your reel, it's an experience, it's a credit. You want to take it, just be aware of how it defines you, and, take that to heart.
Right. But it's so interesting as an actor versus a musician. There is that situation, right? But as a musician, yes, you do have to have a brand that is very representative of your vibe, your aura, your music, your sound, how your audience perceives you, your message, and all of that. That's your brand, and that's what your music journey should kind of evolve like. But as an actor, you kind of have to be a little bit of a blank slate.
Yes.
So it's very tough to be like, yes, I have a brand. Yes, Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, George Clooney, there like Meryl Streep, you have like certain brands that you've created as an A-list actor. And then there comes a point when, as a developing actor, as an emerging actor, you have to be a little bit of a blank slate as well.
You have to be flexible.
Yeah, so that people can see you in multiple roles.
Correct.
They can see you as a romantic hero. They can see you as an action hero. They can see you as a romantic actress. There's so many different things, like an emotional actress. There's so many different genres you can play, right?
The one thing I want to remind people entering this business, which we've learned over the course of time, your journey in the arts business, acting, music, you dancing, you decide, right, what's best for you based on your skill sets and your love, what you want to do. I think of every career journey, and corporate wasn't radically different for me, by the way, or for those around me. I have young people ask me all the time, how do I get promoted? How do I become a vice president? How do I become a senior vice president? Here's what I remind all of them. You can be a vice president by changing jobs every 3 years, moving to different companies, but your career journey is a marathon. If you invest in your career journey in the arts, just like corporate, right, which is you get better at your skill every day, you listen to your audience, you deliver customer service for your audience, which is brand equity at the end of the day, and you work on betting a better form of yourself day by day. Don't be impatient. When you go out for that acting audition or that music audition, you're not going to get that dream job on day one. 0.00001% do. But that's literally 0.000. That's like winning the Powerball probably, or the California State Lottery or New York Lottery. But build your career like a marathon. Don't give up. Invest in your career. And it takes time, patience, and building a legacy brand in yourself everyone looks at Pepsi and Coca-Cola today and like, oh my God, the greatest brands in the world, Nike. They weren't born in a day. They have invested in the brand over 5 decades. 10 decades, Pepsi and Coca-Cola over 10 decades, 100 years. So you have to do that and run this journey like a marathon. Within the marathon, you may run a couple sprints and you may get anxious about 1 or 2 jobs that you absolutely want to score, but it can't be that way every single time.
Yeah.
That comes back to our conversation about taking no's for an answer in the industry, right? You have to go with that flow of the ups and downs.
Do you guys know how many no's I get in the corporate world every day? Not even week, every day. I may have ideas, my people may have ideas, we sell things. Consumers may vote no on Here's a little known secret. In the brand world of consumer goods, less than 5% of what you put out in innovation lasts beyond a year. Can you imagine? That means if you put 100 products out, less than 5 survive more than a year because consumers have voted no.
Wow.
How painful is that?
So how do you feel about when you manage as a parent with the kids? How do you personally feel, how do you personally handle when they have rejections, when they go through challenges, when they have worked super hard at something, but that hasn't happened for them? So we're kind of like training, our loved ones to think that hard work never goes unnoticed. But the times that your hard work did go unnoticed, then how do you cope with that?
You're asking me a very important life question, way above and beyond my children, right? In this beautiful world we're born into, in the bodies we're born into, in the relationships that we make, here's something that all of us should try and remember. No matter what you do, you may try your absolute level best, bring your A+++ game, such as an audition. You are not going to please 100% of the people 100% of the time. Somebody is always going to say, oh, I don't know, the color of those pants, the socks with ankle cutoffs. He or she should have worn full socks to that one. And I made that example up. So I have a very important rule that I've learned last 5 years, and I think not even last 5 years, last 3 years since I had my health scare. And that is, I call it the 80-80 rule, which I believe in for my children as well. No matter what you do, you're going to please 80% of the people, 80% of the time. So if you multiply 80 by 80, it's really 640, which is 0.64. You have to get it right for 2/3 of the people. If you get it right for 2/3 of the people, 2/3 is majority, by the way. 51% is majority. If you get it right 2/3 of the time, you're doing great. Because there's always going to be a third, no matter what you do. They're going to not be happy for some personal reason that has nothing to do with what you delivered.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so now I've learned that, and that's what I'm trying to tell my children, that, hey, do your best, bring your work ethic. You must bring your work ethic every single time without fail. And boy, in the last year, what have we seen in Lara, Kavita?
Oh my gosh, nothing.
I can't
insane work ethic.
Yeah.
I can't
So
even
proud.
describe that
Yeah.
work ethic.
Yeah.
Rhea's work ethic, she works
Legendary.
24. She's asking me questions, asking Kavita questions 24 hours of the day
No
on her
lie,
business.
I think the kid works in her sleep. I know she sleeps at 1 a.m. and she's up at 7 a.m. So that's 6 hours of sleep. But in that sleep, she must be churning ideas because she literally sleeps with like notes for us, and which I see when I wake up. And then she wakes up and she's sending us notes within seconds. So and it's working all day. Not to say it's working smart too. It's working efficiently. Whatever work ethic level one's at, whatever personal choices, I think passionately working towards something you love is very important.
And remember,
That's what
you're not going to please everybody. So people give you feedback unsolicited. You got to treat feedback like a gift. But you also have to be able to take feedback and know which ones to act on and which ones you let go. And when you let go of stuff, people are going to call you egotistical. It's okay. Understand you're letting go of stuff because it might be impossible to do. It might be a ridiculous ask. It might be way beyond your skill set or capability. Or it may be one person's opinion of what the world should look like. So 1/3 of the time, it's okay. I let it go. I practice this in my day-to-day job. Now, people might not like me saying that, but I don't think I'd be where I am if I got this one like entirely. Maybe I'm 50% wrong on this one. Hey, but I'm trying to get it right 80-80. And this is something even my HR leaders agree with me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The one other thing I want to mention on the work ethic piece, right? For listening audience, again, guys, Rhea's also started a podcast, iHeartRadio. Check it out. And we'll share later, maybe on a different episode of y'all's. It'll be on the CPG Guys for sure, what a podcast name is. But, dude, musician working full-time now has her own podcast.
Yep. Again, connecting the dots. I'm always connecting like 360, all our different episodes and things we talk about because our life experiences. Pivoting. It is so important to pivoting doesn't mean changing what you're doing. Pivoting means expressing the 360 talent you have. So you could be an actor, you could be a singer, you could be a dancer, but there are other artistic skills you may have. There are other business skills or passions you may have. Exploring all of that and making different avenues work for you so you can holistically continue to do what you love the most.
And I want to give a plug-in for my friend Sammy Chand on Ruckus Radio, who has worked with Rhea to get the podcast on iHeart. Congratulations
Thanks,
to both.
Sammy.
Rhea
Congrats
and
to
Sammy.
both of you.
Absolutely.
But the point I was trying to make is work ethic, right? I think we're also in a world today which, you know, we, at the top of the show, we talked about how parents the parents were one track, like corporate is everything and that's what you should do. I totally don't believe one thing is the only thing you do. Is that how you lead your life? You raise your kids, you water your lawn, you drive your car, you do 30 things just for life. Why is it that in your earning potential you do only one thing? It's not okay. Don't let people hold you back and tell you that. Have a passion and chase it. Just make sure it's ethical. If you're working for somebody, make sure you sign up with your employer, but have a passion in life, right? And I think that comes back to work ethic.
Can you talk a little bit about mental health and balance? And, you know, this is also something, a career with a lot of pressure. Rhea has shared with all of us the amount of bullying and the negative comments on TikTok as well. She laughs it off, and I think that's so strong of her and her personality because she has to. But it hits a point where everyone needs a break. How do you redirect both your daughters to make sure that they're getting the balance they need?
Here's two things corporate has taught me in that regard, right? Number one, do you know what my number one business objective is publicly? I tell people it's on my every quarter because I lead sales for a very large CPG company. Every quarter, my quarterly closing video, every month when I talk to my entire sales force of over 1,200 people, do you know what objective number one is, guys? I ask people, your number one objective is take care of yourself. It's not deliver the number. If you what is take care of yourself, right? People will immediately say, running a marathon, lifting weights. No, taking care of yourself is, are you spending time with your loved ones? Do you have something for yourself? I have something for myself. It's called the CPG guys. When I travel on planes, I'm declaring it publicly. I don't open my laptop and work. It's 7 p.m. at night. I watch Netflix shows. I don't watch Netflix at home. I watch it on planes because I know that I have that time. Find something for yours. For some people, that might be weightlifting 2 hours. That's your choice.
Whatever
Make
that
sure,
is.
number one objective, take care of yourself. You have to define what that is. You may love to read a book. You may want to go on vacation by yourself to Mexico for 4 days and have a beautiful cocktail with an umbrella, and it's your call. But number one objective is that. And the second one, to answer your question on mental health, is 80-80 rule. No matter what you say, write, share, your network, there's going to be 20% of the time where someone will say, I don't know, I don't like you, this, that, I don't like the way they sang. So one of the greatest movies that has been released in all time, highest grossing, 1,000 crore rupees, which is in the millions of dollars. I can't even count how much globally, right? So it's out past every film in India in the Bollywood industry, has Ranbir Kapoor as its superstar, right? What you can argue is success in the dollars that it's output. Yet 20% of the people are like, it's too violent, it's that, I won't let them watch. Why did you go watch it? You had you had Rotten Tomatoes, you had India-based ratings, you had IMDb, and it gave you the plot. Why did you go watch it and then come back and criticize? Because it told you everything what to expect, right? So that's what I mean by that second rule. Number one, do something for yourself. Guys, I may be doing 10 things, but I have things I do for myself. Like
Shri loves violent action movies.
I won't say violent action movies, I'll say spy thrillers.
Violent
Spy
movies.
thrillers.
Spy thrillers. And I do things.
That's his passion.
And by the way, I do
No, he enjoys
things.
it. That's his
my work requires me to be on a plane very often because I'm leading sales for a very large corporation, right? But I'm the guy that occasionally will get a window seat and say, my travel ain't too bad that I have to travel 6 hours and lose 3 hours on time zones because I get to see the Grand Canyon from a plane. How many people get to see the Grand Canyon every single week? I see the Grand Canyon literally every single week.
It's beautiful.
I get to see do people even know that the tallest mountain in California is Mount Giorgino? I get to see it every week twice.
I did
No
not know
idea.
that.
That's what I mean by like
He
do
pointed
things
to
for
me
yourself.
last week, and he was just like, "Do you know that?" I'm like, okay,
No.
wow.
Do things for yourself.
It's the little
you know?
things. It's the little
And
things.
80-80.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mental health is 80-80 and do things for yourself. And don't let people tell you that if you choose to take a Pilates class for yourself, someone's going to say, Pilates class, that's hogwash. I'll give you 80 YouTube videos on why that's bad for your back. If you love Pilates class, you're doing the right thing, and you've determined it's good for you, and you've done your research, please do your Pilates class.
Yeah.
Because it makes you happy.
But we have a little bit of time left, and I want to ask a couple more questions that I know our listeners are curious about. One is over the history, you know, and all this time that has passed of both your daughters first getting their feet wet and now really, you know, riding this coaster with this career. They've had to put on these personas. They've had to figure out this brand. And in the pop world, for a female artist, it can be a bit perhaps revealing. It can also lead to fans and people that are, I don't want to use the word obsessed, but maybe even obsessed and stalkers. It can lead to safety concerns, maybe. It can lead to anything. So as a parent, how did you see that then? How do you see it now? Does it bother you what your kids wear or that they're on the internet? Let's talk a little bit about that.
I go back, oh my God, I go back 10, 15 years in history. Rhea wasn't allowed to use the F word or any cussing. Everything was like mega kosher. I didn't let her watch shows such as Zendaya show. I forgot the name. Do you remember what it was, Kavita? Like a lot of Disney shows. It's really stupid when I look back now. But you know, obviously you mature when you grow up and you get it, right? The good news is now they're both 18. So I'm much more comfortable with all of this, right? But we got to remember this is the show business. In the show business. And by the way, Walid, in my corporate career, I have to wear a suit very often in life. Sit in meetings that many around me may also feel are dreary. Why we do it? Because it's a show business. This is no different. But it's taken me a decade to understand this. This is the show business at the end of the day, right? So the rule I have is as long as you bring your work ethic and you're ethical and fair to people, you're kind to people, you're uplifting others with you, it's your choice as an adult what you want to do, right? As long as you're abiding to these basic principles of life.
Yeah, leading with love.
Leading with love, uplifting others. Like the example I gave you both, I'm at that show and someone comes to see, I wear that Rhea Lara t-shirt because I'm with endearment, it empowers me every day. Like, okay, bro, what can be better than that? In my 30-year corporate career, touching brands worth market caps of collectively $500 billion, like $500 billion. Nobody's ever come and said to me, I sleep with a blah box or bag next to me because it's empowered me, right? So who am I to tell my daughters, Rhea and Lara, don't wear the shirt or don't be this way or that way? And when they're
an empowering parent.
I've given people the joy in a corporate career of maybe, at least in Revlon, every morning, many women in focus groups would say, I feel empowered because of the makeup and the cosmetics you give me. And I totally understood the role of why makeup is so important because it empowered people to be powerful and be leaders.
Feel good.
How is it any different for Rhea and Lara?
Yeah, music.
It's like the
it's
leaders.
A universal language.
They're giving people, for many people, they're giving reason on the mental health to feel good about themselves every day, to take people with them, to go for moonshots. I encourage everybody, go for moonshot. Your dreams need to be moonshots.
I love that.
I love it. You do you, right?
Yes.
As long as you're leading your life with
Ethics.
kindness, courtesy, ethics,
Taking
law,
people with you.
legal,
and
just
basic rules of life.
Basic rules of life. But just you do you at the end of the day. So that's what you
Yep.
lead your life with, and that's what you lead the girls' journey with.
Yeah, and safety and security are very important, Walid. That rule hasn't changed to the day. I mean, I won't lie to you guys. We are the parents that sit up at 3 a.m. and last night or night before last, at the time of this recording, right before the New Year's, our younger daughter was out somewhere, and I can't lie to you, Kavita and I were awake at 3 a.m. checking the phone. When the alarm triggered, the camera turned off. We saw who it was. We made sure Lara was home. Yeah, I mean, we have some rules.
Of course, and naturally, as parents.
You know, Walid, my father-in-law, Kavita's dad, and my mom to the day will ask us where we are, where we're traveling. They'll check in. When we land somewhere on a plane, they'll be like, my father-in-law, like last week I was coming back from somewhere. He's like, oh, have you landed? It was like 11:18 p.m. I thought he'd be fast asleep.
How sweet, though. How sweet. Someone cares, you know.
It is so
That's
crazy.
what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Sri lost his dad. I've lost my mom. But all four of them were, and my dad and Shri's mom, who are still very much loving and with us, text us to the date and ask us if we're home safe, if we've traveled okay,
Yeah.
wishing us well constantly. They would like a little text from us saying we're okay every day. And
Right.
it's like they could be in any corner of the world and they want to hear that. So
the one
a parent's
thing-
job never ends.
Yes.
Really.
The one
you
thing-
know now.
I get it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about the babies
Yes.
in a second.
Two
One thing I do want
baby
to pass
puppies.
Baby puppies, just to be clear, I
to be
got two
clear.
puppies.
on. One thing I'm
Two
gonna
puppies.
ask for the names in a second because they're really cool. But one thing I do want to pass on to your audience, right? Just remember this for 1 second. When you're 75 years old and you're reflecting back on life, right? Nobody will care that you were a singer, your actor, and the brand. It's the loved ones around you, sitting around you when you're 75 and your career's long done, how much money, wealth you made, that will tell you about the times you didn't show up for them and the things you didn't do for them.
That part right there.
Nurture, invest, show up for your loved ones when they want you to.
Absolutely.
That will be the gift that'll keep giving.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and the gift that I recently got was the gift of two
Yes!
puppies.
Puppies.
They're so cute.
Names, please.
There's two, and so the dark one, the black one, her name is Miss Coco. And then the blondie, her name is Miss Honey. And they're both inspired by Beyonce songs from the Renaissance album. You know,
Of
Kavita,
course,
big
yes.
fan here.
Yes.
For Miss Coco from the song Heated. Miss Coco
Yes.
Chanel, lock me up in jail.
When will we see them on the show?
Yes, I know. Soon they got to
Oh my
make a
God,
debut.
they gotta make a
And then
debut.
Miss Honey from the show, from the song Pure Honey. Miss Honey from Beyonce's album, and they're precious, and their names fit them perfectly. And
They're
I
gorgeous.
worry about them when I'm not home. I'm wondering if they're happy, if they've ate, if they've used the potty, all that puppy stuff. I digress. Let's go back to you for one more question, Sri. I want to wrap with a big one.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to wrap with a big one. There are a lot of parents that want to get their kids into
Yeah.
showbiz because their kid has a hunch and an interest, but they might have zero information, knowledge, background support. They might also not have life experiences that translate, like marketing or, learning a brand. So for those just starting off, it's a long road ahead maybe. Some people might hit the lottery and get it big, easy, and early on, but for others it might take some time. Other than staying persistent, which has been a common theme and motif that you've given, what else would you share with parents in this journey? And it can be a couple things.
3 things. I'll start first with, as a parent, don't be a blocker. When your child comes to you and says, I want to play baseball, are you a blocker? You encourage your child to play baseball. If your child says, I want to be on the chess team, are you a blocker? You encourage your child to be on the chess team. If your child says, I want to take acting lessons, why are you a blocker? Don't be a blocker, number 1. Be an enabler. In the arts world, there isn't enough parents that are enabling the arts world. So please change that equation, number 1. Second, the second equation is you use the word in a small sentence, persistence. It's a marathon. It is not a sprint. In your own career, have you succeeded in the sprint? Then why are you expecting your kids to in the acting journey or music journey? Like, look at yourself in the mirror, right? I look at myself in the mirror. It's taken me 30 years to get where I went. Who the heck am I to tell my kids you got to succeed in 1 year? Now, my kids have far outachieved anything I've done in my 30 years and like 5 years in their life. That's a different ballgame. But that's my reality. They have. But please look in the mirror and don't do that to your children. And the third one, January 2024, how do you know that Raj Mahal later this year may not be creating something that may be helping you with deciphering this whole world of acting, music, entertainment, and giving you the plot on how to be successful in making superstars? Just be patient. It's a journey. Maybe Kavita will have something to reveal. I don't know. I'm guessing.
Yeah,
Manifesting it, bro.
It sounds like there's
I may
some
be a copper
surprises.
buy. I may be unqualified, but she's qualified. She's raised 2 superstars as a mom.
Yes, Kavita, you're an incredible force too.
Thank
and
you.
What you and your husband Sri together have done
Like,
for
and
your
you have
daughters.
been
You're
the
making stars,
writer.
Walid.
Yes, I
And
mean,
you've been the writer of a piece of that, right?
Yeah.
You have been the writer of our story thus far, the Raj Mahal, and there will be a time when we
Yes.
are ready to reveal that.
And Walid, I'm going to end my part on this with the same song I started with.
yes,
Written in the stars, a million miles away, a message from I'm going to say from her, and I'm going to let you all decipher what that song is, but dude, you control your destiny.
yes.
take it in your hands.
We clearly have a lot of singers in this house. So,
Yes, I wonder where the girls get their love for
Radio
music.
face.
Well, this was so much fun. It's such a treat to have Kavita's other half here, and the girls is equally inspiration between both of you. So thank you, Sri, for coming on today.
It was
Thank
an
you.
honor to be on your show.
Thank you.
For bringing me on Lights, Camera, Conversation. This is a pleasure to do it, and I'm truly honored that you chose me to be here and be a guest today. Thank
We
you.
love it.
Yes.
Listeners, you know there's more to come. New episodes every Tuesday. We're on all platforms. We're also on Instagram, TikTok. You don't want to miss it. Sri, CPG Guys, is also on Instagram. We know you have a site. You're on all podcast platforms. But you have a couple other branching off podcasts as well. Just give us a quick rundown of where we can find you and listen to your work.
Easiest way is just go to cpgguys.com. You can find all our work. We actually have 7 days programming. We have offshoot podcast, the FMCG Guys in West, which covers Western Europe, done by our friends Daniel from Spain.
Cool.
Then we have Brian Gildenberg with the CPG Guys Fast Forward, which is every Thursday, which is a tech focus. CPG and tech, AI, things of that nature is what they deal with. We have Jess Malmot that comes on every Tuesday, talks about the retail media minute and the changing forces in our industry. We have Sean Halter, CEO of Mio Marketplace, with an advertising buying platform which gives the industry recap every Monday. And finally, me, Melissa, Andrea, and Peter, we do the Fresh Four every week on Sunday, which is the 4 latest hot topics in history. We have 7 days programming.
Wow.
Can you guys tell we're having
Incredible.
fun doing this?
Yeah, I mean,
I love. Shout out to all those amazing
Education.
people that are
Yes.
like part of Shri's orbit.
yes.
But guys, it's a journey. I want to
Yeah.
remind people it's been a marathon, 3.5 years. We didn't scale to who we are in one day as CPG Guys, right? I still remember episode 1. We have done something very funny. We have not pulled out a single episode. The quality of the production, if you go back and listen to episode 1, you will roll around in laughter. I promise.
Listen, you put in, where energy goes, energy flows, and
Exactly.
you've put in the time, and you've come up with a podcast empire beyond the incredible work both Laura
It's
and
about
Rhea are
education.
doing.
What y'all are doing, you may choose not to believe it, but I'll tell you the truth, guys. When people listen to your podcast, you open doors for people. You uplift them. You tell them where to go, how to do, the perseverance, the trials, tribulations. You round all that up. There's only one word that comes to mind. You're educating people in the journey of arts. And my friends, when you give the gift of education, you uplift people. So thank you, folks.
Cheers to
Thank you.
that.
Cheers to that.
With that, friends,
Cheers.
I'm
Thank you
Walid
all.
Chaya.
I'm Kavita Raj.
And this is our dear friend and very special guest,
Sri Raj.
And you're listening to Lights,
Camera and conversation. Thank you all.
Catch you next week.
Catch you soon. Bye.
Hey, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow on Instagram and TikTok. We love interacting. Also, the content in this podcast episode is provided for general informational purposes only. By listening to our episode, which we love, you understand that no information contained in this episode should be construed as advice from Lights, Camera, Conversation or our individual authors, hosts, or guests. Nor is it intended to be a substitute for research on any subject matter. We always encourage you to do your research. Reference to any specific product or entity does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by Lights, Camera, Conversation. The views expressed by speakers are their own, and their appearance on our program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity that they represent. Thanks for listening, and until next time, have a great day.